What's up everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I got the new Blendiful product that Tati came out with. Let me go ahead and hold it up for you guys. So I already did my makeup, so it is a little dirty. So in this video I did this side using the Blendiful and then this side using the Beauty Blender. To be honest, I actually haven't used the Beauty Blender in a really long time. This is my first time using it, probably like 6 months, maybe a year, who knows. I actually am really used to using makeup brushes, but I feel like this would be a better comparison, and I feel like a lot of you guys do use beauty blenders. So I do want to do another video later on though, doing the Blendiful versus my makeup brushes, because that's personally what I tend to use. I tend to use a lot of makeup brushes, but I am really fond of this because you only use one product and can pretty much get your whole face done. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. I'll show you guys how I did my makeup using the Blendiful on this side and then the Beauty Blender on this side. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Alright you guys, so we're starting off this makeup makeup free. We're gonna go in with all the products. I'm gonna try to use as many products as I can. Alright you guys, so this is the bigger Blendiful. This one right here is the baby Blendiful. Oop. So I'm gonna do it on this side and I'm gonna use the Beauty Blender on this side of my face. I'll leave like a little text here, and then on this side of my face I'm gonna only use the Tati Beauty tools. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so for primer, I think I'm gonna jump into this pure no filter blurring primer. I just really like this because it's a little bit more hydrating than other primers I have. Okay, so Tati said that the Blendiful is actually really good for applying primer, so let's go ahead and do that because she says it helps to really like blend it into the skin. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I guess I'm going to apply the primer first onto the skin. Now the first thing I'm definitely noticing is it almost feels like it's adding more like product than if I were to just go in with my fingers and spread it out. Like it almost feels like it's actually showing up more of the primer than usual. So it's funny, usually when I apply this primer with my hands, you can't really see the sheen that's on my face right now. Like it just completely blends out. So I almost feel like this product is going, like if you want your foundation to be more full coverage, like it almost feels like this product would do that. Like it doesn't take off makeup off your face like I feel like the Beauty Blender does. Like, alright you guys, for my Beauty Blender, I never go in with my Beauty Blender with my primer, but I guess I'll do the same thing that I did with the Blendiful. Alright you guys, so let's jump into foundation. This is the one that I'm like the most interested to see because I really like when my foundation is very full coverage and very blended. So I'm very interested to see how this Blendiful actually makes the foundation look. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up this foundation. This is from Tati Beauty. This is sold at Sally Beauty. So I only recently started using this and it is so good. It is a velvet matte formula, so it's not too matte. And I just really like the way it makes my skin look, especially in the winter. So I wear the shade 4.5. So I'm going to apply that first onto the skin and then I'll blend it out with the Blendiful. I feel like that's a good amount. If I need to add more, I'll add more. So I added like a couple little pumps all over the face. Let's grab the Blendiful, and this is what it looks like right now. So I'm very interested to see how the Blendiful ends up looking after I use it with foundation, like how much gets on it. So this is what the Blendiful looks like right now. So right off the bat, I can definitely tell that what this tool does is it really allows your makeup to be very full coverage. Like I feel like it doesn't take a lot off. So this is like about how much gets on the Blendiful thing. So after patting it down, a little bit does start to come off. So if you do want to get a little bit off, you can just keep patting it down and taking a little bit of that product off. Alright, so it looks like this shade is a little bit darker for me, but I do tend to stay pretty like tan during the whole year, like on my body. So I do like my foundation to match my body. The first thing I definitely notice is that the Blendiful does make your makeup like very full coverage. Like I feel like it doesn't take it off, which I prefer. I like my makeup to be very full coverage. So I just wanted to point that out. That's what I'm noticing with the foundation. So let's go and do the other side with the Beauty Blender. So I'm gonna do the same thing, just put a couple pumps onto my face and then go in with the Beauty Blender. now I have the foundation on, so now I can kind of compare it a little bit better. So I'm gonna look into the mirror and kind of see the differences. The only thing I'm really noticing is like on this side it looks a lot more full coverage, whereas on this side I feel like it's a little less, even though I applied the same amount of foundation. Like you can kind of see the redness coming through. But I feel like some people may prefer the Beauty Blender application just because, you know, it isn't too full coverage and it doesn't really look like you have makeup on. Like it looks a little less, it looks to me like the Beauty Blender is a little bit more natural. So I feel like some people may prefer this side due to that. But if I were doing makeup on someone else and I didn't want to apply too much, I think the Beauty Blender would definitely be your winner. I just noticed that with this, it really applies it very, very full. So let's go ahead and I'll talk more about that at the very end. So that's just something I'm kind of noticing. So I'll talk more about it at the very end, and let's get into concealer and powder and then all that. Alright you guys, so for concealer, I'm going to go in with this Collab Beauty concealer in Beige Tan. I have to say this product is really, really gentle as well, especially when I'm getting, you know, so close to my eye area right there. Alright, so that is what it looks like with the concealer on the Blendiful side. Let's do the same thing to the other side, but go in with a Beauty Blender. Another thing I'm noticing is that when I use the Blendiful, it just helps me get my job done a lot quicker. Like I feel like using the Beauty Blender, it's taking me a little bit longer to sort of do the face. Okay, so what I think so far, it's very similar of what I thought when I applied my foundation. Once again, I feel like the Blendiful is just applying it a little bit more full coverage, whereas I feel like the Beauty Blender isn't as full coverage. It kind of takes a little bit of that makeup off. Another thing is that I feel like I got done with my process of the concealer quicker with the Blendiful versus the Beauty Blender. So if you're like someone who's like kind of in a rush or going really quickly, I think you actually might really like the Blendiful, because I felt like I was able to get done with this side of my face faster than the Beauty Blender. So let's go ahead and jump into powder. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in really quick. I just want to show you guys what it looks like with my foundation and concealer before I jump into powder. So I feel like the concealer didn't really apply that well on here with the Beauty Blender. Like you can see that massive pimple that I have right here. I'm definitely seeing that the Blendiful side is definitely way more full coverage. Alright you guys, so I'm going to pick up a powder that I know that I really like. So this is the Jeffree Star one in Translucent. Okay, so I'm actually going to use the Baby Blendiful. I just feel like this tip right here is so perfect for just getting right in there. I really prefer to go in with my powder with a brush, and usually what I do with a brush is I'll get a little bit on and then tap off a lot on my hand, and then I'll kind of press it in. But I usually go in with very little powder. So I typically avoid like tools like this when it does come to powder, just because I don't like to put too much powder on my skin personally, just because I'll end up looking like a crocodile. I tried baking before on this channel and it looked flawless, like literally flawless on camera, but in person it just didn't look like, it looked a little scaly. It was going into like my fine lines. Like it looks so good on camera, but in person it just doesn't look that good on me. So alright you guys, so I just pressed into the powder and like this much came on it. So let me take off a lot, because like I said, I really just don't like to go in with that much powder, especially because I do feel like these Blendiful tools, like they really bring the product into your skin. So alright, so I took off a pretty good amount, as much as I could, and I'm just going to press that into the skin. I really wanted to see how the Blendiful works with cream contour. I totally forgot to do that. So for the powder, I'm just going to go in right in this area here and not apply any powder right there, and then at the very end of the video I'll go in with a little bit more powder just to go on top of the contour. But so far I am pretty happy with how that applied, like right in this area. Like I feel like it really mattified it but didn't do too much, which I'm happy about. I was a little nervous because What I'm definitely noticing about the Blendiful is that it does like apply your product kind of full coverage. So I was a little nervous it would apply too much powder because like I said, it's just, I don't like to go in with too much powder because I'll look too dry. So I'm going to apply some powder onto here with the Beauty Blender. I do see a lot of people do this, especially when their Beauty Blender is damp, which mine is right now. So I'm gonna apply that right under here. I'm not gonna go in here because I wanna go in with a little bit of cream contour. Okay, so I have the powder on my hand. As always, I'm always gonna take off a good amount on my hands and then go in. Alright you guys, so that is what it looks like so far. I'm actually very happy with the Blendiful side. Like I felt like it makes the skin look mattified but not too much, which I really like. Like it's almost like a velvet matte. I don't like to go in with my Beauty Blender with powder. I used to do that, and like I said, I think it looks great on camera, but in person it just tends to look too dry, especially right here in the under eyes. So I usually avoid doing that, and I'm already seeing like it's already dry right here. So I don't really like to do that with my Beauty Blender. It's just something that I prefer not to do. Okay, so now I want to go in with the cream contour because I really want to see what that looks like. I feel like Tati really pushed that one on her channel, like especially how she said that going in with this Blendiful doesn't cause any harsh lines. So I feel like I have to see how that works. So let's go ahead and pick up my Pure Cameo Contour. I'm going to use the darker side contour. And let's start on this side and then we'll do the other one. So I'm just gonna apply it right here, and I like to go upwards because that's usually how I like to do my contour. And then I always apply contour here as well. For my contour, I do like to go a little bit into the hairline as well, so I'll apply it right there. I think I applied way too much on my forehead. You really don't need that much. Let's go ahead and blend that out. I'm gonna use the bigger one to blend out. Alright you guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and bend it. And when it comes to contour, I always do try to go upwards. Alright you guys, so this one is taking me a little bit longer to blend out. Alright you guys, so that is what it looks like with the contour so far. I feel like it's kind of like clinging into my like baby hairs. Alright you guys, so I'm happy with how the contour looks. Like I feel like it looks really good on the forehead and like just on this side of the face. Overall, I do feel like there's a little bit of patchiness right here. I think that has to do with my skin being textured. So I'm going to go in with the Baby Blendiful and just add a little bit of powder right on top and see if that kind of helps with the texture. Sometimes when my skin is breaking out, I will go in with a little bit of powder over my contour. Alright you guys, I'm going to go ahead and now jump onto this side of the face and apply some cream contour and see how that blends out. I'm going to do the same exact thing I did on the other side. Alright you guys, now let's go in with the Beauty Blender and blend that out. Alright, so I'm done with the contour side with the Beauty Blender on this side. I want to go in with a little bit of powder, like the same exact thing I did on this side, and do it here. So I'm going to apply a little bit of powder on my Beauty Blender, take a little bit off my hand, and then just sort of apply that over the contour. I think I am actually liking how the contour looked better with the Beauty Blender, and then I'll kind of get into that towards the end of the video. Alright you guys, so we're getting towards the end of the video. The last thing I want to do is just go in with some highlight, and then that's pretty much it. I'm going to pick up this cream highlight from Natasha Denona from the tan palette. It comes with a cream highlight and also with a powder one. So I do want to apply both. So I'm going to go in with this one first. I'm going to use the Baby Blendiful to do that, maybe like the other side of it. So yeah, I'm just going to flip the side that doesn't have powder and sort of just apply that like to the very tip. I'm just going to apply that where I typically apply my highlight, and then I'll go in with the powder highlight. So I didn't apply any powder like in this area where I'm applying the cream highlight, so that really shouldn't be any problem. So far so good. I feel like that actually looks really nice. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the powder from the Natasha Denona palette. So let me pick it up and just go in with this shade right here. And I'm just going to apply that right on top of the cream. Alright, that is really blinding. So cream and powder highlight gives you a really beautiful blinding highlight. So I'm actually really happy with how it looks on this side. Let's go ahead and do the same thing, but this time using the Beauty Blender, same exact products. Now I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the powder one. Alright, so the highlight I feel like is pretty similar. I did feel like it was a little bit smoother on this side, especially with the cream. But I liked how the powder highlight applied better on this side. Alright, so let's get to the very end of the video where I can give you guys my opinions on what I thought about the Blendiful and the Baby Blendiful. But let's zoom into the face so you guys can really see both of the comparisons and you can see everything close up. Okay, so let's talk about my honest opinions on what I thought about the new Blendiful product from Tati Beauty. So let's start off with the basics. So the Tati Beauty Blendiful came in this lovely little package right here. I love the minimalistic vibe. I like that she didn't, add a bunch of product like around it. Like it just comes in this small little packet, that's it. There is cleaning instructions in the back. And then it does say here that it is made in China, which I find interesting because, so she has mentioned on her channel that her stuff is made by Seed Beauty. If you don't know who Seed Beauty is, it is who makes ColourPop, KKW Beauty, and Kylie Cosmetics. So I guess just this specific product is made in China. Maybe it was, cheaper to do there. I just thought it was interesting because in this packet right here, it does say made in China, but I went ahead and looked at the Tati Beauty palette and I can't even find like where it's made. It doesn't say made in America or made in China. So I thought it was interesting that it wasn't on here, but it is on there. I feel like she's very transparent, so I'm surprised she didn't mention that it was made in China, or if she did in her video, then I must have missed that point. So let's go ahead and get into some of the pros and cons and what I like and didn't like. So a couple things that I really liked about the Blendiful tool is that this makes your makeup look very full coverage, and I feel like it applies all the makeup on top. Like I feel like some tools get rid of that makeup or like kind of take it off, whereas I feel like this applies it all on the face, so you are going to look a little bit more full coverage, which I prefer because I feel like now I can kind of use a little bit less makeup knowing that all of it gets on your skin. And then another thing that I noticed is that this makes your makeup like application super quick. I noticed that I spent like half of the time on this side of my face versus the Beauty Blender. So I think a lot of people who are like on the go are gonna actually really enjoy this product because it is a really easy, quick application. Like I noticed that right away. I think it was even easier and faster using this Blendiful tool versus my makeup brushes. I'm very used to using makeup brushes. I actually don't really use the Beauty Blender that much, but I felt like it would be a good comparison to do, so that's why I used the Beauty Blender. But I did notice that this let me like apply my makeup very quickly, so I really like that, and it does blend very nicely. So I was a really big fan of how this applied my foundation, my concealer, and my powder. I loved how this looked on the powder. I noticed right away that it makes the powder look really nice on the skin and almost gives you like a natural finish, and it doesn't look dry. Whereas when I use the Beauty Blender to apply the powder, I felt like the Beauty Blender, it looked drier on the skin. As for the cream contour, I actually wasn't as much as a fan as I thought I would be about it, but I did really like how it blended out here on my forehead, but I personally did not like how it blended here on my cheeks. But I think that has to do because my skin is very textured, so I felt like it kind of clung to like acne or like texture. So that is something that I noticed with this. I think when my skin is kind of breaking out, I'm gonna have to avoid doing contour just because it clung right away to texture acne skin, whereas on the forehead where I don't have as much texture, it actually looked really, really good. So whereas with the Beauty Blender, I actually preferred how the cream contour applied there. So there's kind of some differences. For my highlight, the cream and the highlight, I really actually liked how it applied. It looked very smooth, really nice. So overall, I feel like the application that you're gonna get using these two tools is very full coverage, very smooth, very blended, and you're gonna be able to do your makeup pretty quickly. So that to me, I feel like are really, really big pros. Personally, I think you could probably find this somewhere more affordable. I'd have to go and look. Like, I feel like they definitely make something like a really good dupe to this. In my opinion, I do think it is a little bit pricey. I mean, it is $18, but you do get two, so it's not too bad either. And it is less than the Beauty Blender, so. Now, another thing that I really liked about the Blendiful was that this is pretty big, so you do get to use a lot of it. I mainly focus on here, but I could have definitely applied my foundation using this side. I could have used this side. I could use this side here. I could even bend it. There's just a lot going on here. Like, there's a lot you can do right here. And then I do like that it came with this mini one too. Like, this was really, really nice to apply your powder. So I do like that it comes with these two versus the Beauty Blender, you know, which is $20. And I feel like, I mean, you can just see off of the difference. Like, this one is a lot bigger, so it does give you some more space to add some more product and kind of reuse it again. So say I wanted to reuse this tomorrow, I definitely could. I could just flip the other side, or I could have used the other side to do my body. You know, like, I feel like you get a lot of use out of it just because you do have a lot of space. Now, I didn't think that I was going to get used to using this so quickly. I actually picked it up very quickly, so I think you guys will too. I've never used this before in my life, like any puff or anything like that. So I thought I was gonna have some difficulty using it. Like, in the beginning, I was kind of awkward with using it and I didn't really know how to use it, but I think you guys will pick it up pretty quickly. It is, to me, I thought it was really user-friendly. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I feel like the only cons with this product is you could probably find a dupe for a little bit less. That's the only thing. You could probably find something a bit more affordable. Another con might be that it gets dirty really quick, but I mean, you could just wash it, and I heard it dries really quickly, so that's not too bad either. So for me, I really like the Blendiful because I feel like it applied my makeup very full coverage. If you don't really like that, then I think you might prefer to actually keep using your Beauty Blender, because I feel like that applies it not so full coverage. But now, I know a lot of people are gonna wonder, like, oh, is this easy to wash? So I personally wash my brushes at least like once a week. So I heard this is actually really easy to wash. You could actually throw it in your laundry and just do it that way. But I heard this is really, really easy to wash and it just dries right away. You should also usually always clean this, like at least after 1 or 2 uses. So it's not that big of a deal, I feel like. Personally for me, if it gets dirty, I would just clean it. I clean my brushes all the time just because I do have acne prone skin. Now, what I would like to see Tati come out with is like maybe a little soap bar in order to clean this. Like, I think that would have been a really nice addition. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I actually really, really enjoyed the product. I definitely want to reuse it again. So that was me using it with a Beauty Blender, but I would be very interested in using it with my brushes because, as I've mentioned throughout this video, I mainly use makeup brushes. Like, I don't really use too many beauty blenders or puffs or anything like that. I'm really used to using brushes. So I would be really, really interested to see how this compares to makeup brushes. Alright, you guys, so overall, I actually really enjoyed the product. I didn't think I was gonna like it this much, but it's actually really, really good, and it's really easy to use. Like, you're definitely gonna cut down a lot of time in doing your makeup. Like, you will, if you ended up getting this, I was actually in shock how quick I did my makeup versus using a bunch of brushes and all that. So I feel like that's another pro, is you don't have to carry a bunch of brushes anymore. Like, this literally does the whole job. So let me know if you guys want to see me do Blendiful on this side and then makeup brushes, and then I would be interested to see if you could create an eye look using this. Or am I going too far? Might be going too far. That is pretty much it. Make sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram at beautybyDreaV, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.